everybody, it's Ian the Off Kilter Crafter. I hope you're having a great day today. We've made it through Thanksgiving and it's in the home stretch towards Christmas. It's hard to believe that it's already Christmas here in 2021, but here we are. We're almost ready to jump into 2022, but before we do, let's go ahead and get started with our clue number 5 for Olympia, the puzzle mystery quilt from Cotton Cuts, and the Olympics are coming up at the early part of next year as well, so this is very well timed out. I'm still very full from Thanksgiving though, to be honest. But anyways, hope you had lots of good food. Let's work off that food by doing some sewing and sew together clue number 5. All right, I have everything for clue 5. I have my instructions for small clue 5. I have my color sheet or my fabric guide, whatever you want to call it. This is, of course, for Carrie. And then I have my packet for clue 5. And I can already see we got a little goodie in here. So let's go ahead and open it up and check it out. The first thing that we have inside of today's clue looks like a little goodie. I love that Cotton Cuts always gives us little goodies throughout the puzzle mystery quilt along our journey. We've got what looks like, I bet this is a mirror, compact mirror. Yep, sure is. We got a nice little mirror in there. And yeah, that's a nice little gift to have. So perfect. I still love that they just give us little goodies along the way. It's almost like a little reward as we get, you know, at the beginning, towards the middle, and then again at the end. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to set that off to the side. All right, for the fabric, we have 4 small triangles of fabric B. We have 2 squares of fabric F. We have 8 squares of fabric A. We have 8 squares of fabric E. We have 6 larger triangles of B. We have 8 triangles of fabric H. We have 4 rectangles of fabric H. We have 4 rectangles of fabric D. And last but not least, we have 4 rectangles of fabric B. All right, we got lots of fabric going on in this one. I'm going to go ahead and take all these and put them on the table behind me, and we'll get started with our first step. Before we get too far along in the process, I did want to point out that down here in the bottom left of the instructions, there is a triangle tips. It says watch my video on YouTube with tips on sewing triangles here. There's a link that you can type into your URL that will give you tips on how to sew triangles. All right, we're going to start off with section 5A, and for step 1, it says to join a square A to the right of square E. We're going to press it towards A, and then we're going to make a square to the left and press towards A. So we're going to do basically sandwich our E fabric in the center of 2 A fabrics, just like this. And we're going to make 4 of these in total, and whenever they're done, they should be 6.5 by 2.5 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and put all these together, and I'll come back when it's time to press it out. All right, I've gone ahead and sewn all those together, and remember we're pressing towards our A fabric, so we're pressing outwards from the center. Thought I did that wrong for half a second. There we go. So now we have 4 pieces that look like this, that have our A fabric on the outside, E fabric on the center. If you're doing the Carrie colorway, be careful of your E fabric. Make sure that you're getting the pattern on the correct side. It is very easy with this one, since it's tone on tone, to get it reversed and backwards. So just be careful of that. I'm going to go ahead and set these to the side because it looks like we're going to be using some different fabric for our next step, which is step 2. Okay, for step number 2, it says to join a square E to the right of square F. Press towards F, towards our center, and then we're going to join a square E to the left and press towards F. We're going to make 2 of these, and they should measure 6.5 by 2.5 inches. So we're just basically putting these together, and we're doing it twice, so that way we have something that looks something similar. Look how nicely these hearts, yeah, you can see them on camera. These hearts are just popping right in the center of these blocks. I love it. Okay, anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and sew this together, and I'll come back and meet you here when it's time to press it out. All right, we have completed that. I'm now pressing them out. Remember, we're pressing out from step 2, I should say. We're pressing out from step 2 and we're pressing it towards step 1. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that on this last remaining one. And I love the fact that on this one I love it when the cuts end up perfectly framing elements on my fabric. So on this fabric in this colorway, I got this nice little sunburst right in the middle. The heart worked out quite nicely. I got a couple of birds in just the right places. So they look pretty awesome. And I love it when it works out like that. It doesn't always happen, but when it does, it just adds that perfect little pop to it. And I love that. All right, let's go ahead and set these aside and we'll come back to these in a moment, but I need to grab some other fabric for step number 4. All right, here we go. We're going to move on to step number 4. It says to sew a rectangle D above a rectangle B. We're going to press towards B, and then we're going to join a rectangle of H below, and we're going to press towards B. We're going to make 4 of these in total, and they should be 5.5 by 6.5 when it's all said and done with. So just simply putting all these together into this order and fashion just like this, and we're going to be pressing towards our center B fabric, and we're going to make 4 of these in total. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back here. All right, I've done that, so now I'm going and pressing towards my B fabric, which is our center stripe. I'm just making sure that my seams are going inwards just like that, and there we go. I've pressed this all out, and I have made 4 of these in total. They're all in a pile right here, so I have 4 of these that look just like that. We're going to go ahead and move on to step number 5. Okay, moving on to step number 5, it says to join a step 4 unit to the right of a step 3 unit. We're going to press towards our step 4 and then join a step 4 unit to the left and press towards our step number 4, and we're going to make 2 of these. They measure 16.5 by 6.5 whenever they are all done, and we'll label these as section 5A or clue 5A. Either way doesn't matter, but basically we're just going to put them together just like this, and we'll press them out from our center section, which is step number 3. We'll just press the seams outwards, and we're going to make 2 of these. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back here. All right, I've finished that, and so now I'm pressing out towards away from section or I keep getting that all messed up. Anyways, I meant to say step number 3, we're pressing away from step 3 out onto step 4, just like so. And one thing I did realize as I was sewing this together is that you could accidentally get your, I don't know how to fit both of these in, but we'll just do something like that, that you could accidentally get your H fabric on the wrong side of the clue. So just remember that your H fabric wants to be in a line whenever we're putting this together on the bottom here. So you have DBH and the same thing on the other side, DBH. So just be careful because you could accidentally flip this one around and have it diagonal, which is not what you want for this one. But we are officially done with section 5A, clue 5A. We have 2 of them that look just like this, and I'm going to go ahead and label them as section 5A or clue 5A. All right, we're going to be moving on to section 5B. It says you'll be making 2 of section 5B. The instructions below tell you how to make both sections at the same time. Step number 1 says to sew a large triangle of B, which I have backwards at the moment. There we go. A large triangle of B to a large triangle of H as shown. So we're just going to put these 2 together just like that. And we're going to press towards our B triangle, and we're going to make 6 of these in total. So you should have enough fabric to make, I was a little confused for a moment because I'm like, wait, we have leftover like smaller B triangles. That comes later. But you're going to use your large B and your large H and sew them together. And remember, whenever we're sewing them together, I'm going to try and show this again. I'm going to show this again. I showed this in a video previous, but I just want to like refresh your mind on this. It feels weird when you're sewing a clue like this because they're so, it's hard to wrap your mind around it. But basically we're going to be, our 1/4 inch seam will go in this point right here all the way down to this point right here. We're not going to sew this seam, we're sewing along this seam right here where this point is, and that's going to give you your 1/4 inch seam. And yeah, this U shape feels very strange, but whenever you get it all unfolded, it makes a lot more sense. But there we go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and sew them along that line right there, and we're going to sew 6 of these in total, and I'll come back when it's time to press it out. All right, I have completed that, and now I'm pressing everything out, and I press these like I do my half square triangles, where I go up, and then I go straight over, so up, down, over, and that kind of seems to help with warping. It doesn't always work, but it seems to help out a little bit with warping. So now we have 6 of these, and we're gonna move on to step number 2. All right, moving on to step number 2, it says to sew a step 1 unit to the left of another step 1 unit. We're going to press to the right, and join another step 1 unit to the left. I don't have one over here, so that must have been this one. So we're going to start here. We're going to put this one on, and we'll press that to the right, and then we'll join another step 1 unit to the left and press to the right. So that way we have 3 in succession, just like this, when it's all said and done with. And again, it's going to feel kind of weird as you're doing this, because you've got to make that weird kind of U shape there. But anyways, so you're going to do that 2 times, so that way you have 2 units, which total 6 of these pieces that we're making, and we'll go ahead and do that right now, and I'll join you back when it's time to press them all out. All right, it is time to press all this out, and I'm going to go ahead and press my H fabric towards my B fabric. So I'm going to hold it like so. It's a little harder to do the like up and over method, like half square triangles, when it's in a line like this, but this seems to be working out. Get it? Seems to be working out. Anyways, so yeah, there we go. I've pressed that out just like so, and now I have 2 of them that look just like this. And now we're going to move on to step number 3. Okay, moving on to step number 3, it says to sew a large triangle of H to the left of step 2 unit as shown. We're going to press towards step 2, and we're going to make 2 of these. So I'm just going to add on our H triangle just like that onto both of these, and then I will come back and press these out. Okay, I have finished adding on our extra H, I shouldn't say extra, but our needed H triangle onto our clue, or excuse me, I always do that. Step number 2, I don't know why I say clue. Anyways, there we go. So it looks like this when it's all said and done with. Mine are actually not too terribly warpy. There's a little bit of warp to them, but they always end up being okay in the end. We're going to go ahead and move on to step number 4, and it says to sew a small triangle of B to the right of step 3 unit as shown. Press towards B, and then join a small triangle of B to the left as shown, and press towards B. We're going to make 2 of these, and when it's all said and done, it should be 16.5 by 2.5 inches, and we'll label these as section 5B. I knew that. I don't know why I needed to look at that, but we'll just add on the small triangles to the corners or the ends. I have 2 more, but they're over on the table for this one, so I'm going to go ahead and attach those, and I'll come back when it's time to press them out. All right, there we go. We have finished doing that, which is step number 4 of this. I don't know why, but this one over here, this corner, fought me like crazy. It was, of course, the last triangle that I was trying to put on, and it was fighting me tooth and nail. It did not want to go on. I ended up kind of shredding that corner a little bit, but thankfully that will be buried in the seam allowance, and that won't be a big deal. So it's going to be okay. But there we go. There is what it should look like when we're all done. We have 2 of these, and again, we're labeling these as section 5B, and we are done for this month, and that's clue 5, which means we are halfway through our 10 months, and we'll start with clue number 6 next time.